Welcome to Filmatic. I'm your host, the Film Doctor, and we are about to jump into what I would like to see it almost as like a superhero edition version of Filmatic. And I say that just because I think a lot of the superheroes from like the Marvel DC world are going to be inside of the movies that we're talking about. So let's look at the first movie of what's coming soon. So this movie is on Apple Plus, and I don't have Apple Plus. Unless somebody wants me to hold their Apple Plus account for a couple of days, I'll check it out. I don't even know if it's out yet, but I found this trailer online. It's called Defending Jacob, and it has Chris Evans, who played inside of the Avenger movies and all the superhero movies from Marvel, as Captain America. So I'm kind of excited to see this movie. Not only, movie, film, I don't know if it's a TV show. I really don't know. It's the first time watching the trailer, but the fact of the matter is, I really love thrillers. That's my favorite genre. I think comedy would probably be next. But out of all of the genres, thriller is my favorite. And this is a thriller with Chris Evans. Let's see how it goes. Let's check it out.
We were sailing towards an iceberg. This little white peak in the distance getting closer and closer. But really, it's been underneath us the whole time.
There's nothing worse than a kid.
We have some bad news on the case. The print we lifted from the victim is from your son.
There's got to be an explanation. They go to the same school. Jacob's in his class.
Yes, we know that.
Lynn, have you arrested my son?
Before we begin, I want to make something clear. A kid your age charged with first-degree murder is tried as an adult.
I swear I didn't do it.
We believe you.
You have admitted to being in the park, and a fellow student alleges you had a knife you would bring to school.
I guess so.
They're saying he looks smug and remorseless. This is gonna follow him around for the rest of his life.
It's a mistake. We're gonna figure it out.
Do you have any doubts about Jacob's innocence?
No, of course not.
Where is the knife now?
So you've been lying to me.
I did what any parent would have done. Can't leave his fate up to the courtroom. My only job now is trying to protect our son.
We're prisoners in our own home, acting like we're normal.
We are normal.
Oh my God, you think this is normal?
We gotta get answers for ourselves.
I know what you did!
Lawyers have boundaries. I don't, not anymore.
Remember that in their eyes, it isn't just Jacob who's guilty. You all are.
Did you follow me here?
This is damaging. This is evidence.
You're scaring him.
Good. He should be scared. I'm scared.
So I have to know. I want the truth.
You can be a good man, or you can be a good father.
There was no normal to go back to. There was just before and after.
So I wouldn't even consider this to be a movie that's coming soon. As you can see, it came out yesterday, being the 24th. This is being filmed on the 25th. So this movie already came out on Apple Plus. So if you guys want, just go on and let me hold your Apple Plus account for like a day or two. I'll check it out and then I can do a review on it. No big deal. But looking at the trailer, I think that it does look like a really good movie. It has, oh boy, I want to say that he played inside of Stephen King's It, the new version of It, and It Chapter 2. As one of the children inside of that gang of younger kids. I can't think of his name. It's not Trombley. Trombley's the younger one. Jacob Trombley is the younger kid. I can't think of the older brother, but the older brother that didn't die inside the first It movie. So, yeah, I think it looks good. I mean, it definitely kept my attention. I love thrillers, so I think that that was a suspenseful thriller kind of trailer that kind of hooked me in and made me say, you know what, I do kind of want to see this, see what the story's about. I don't think they gave away a lot in order to reveal what the story is about. I know that I've talked about this in the past about, you know, certain people being like, oh, it gave away too much, and it's like, come on now, it's we're watching Titanic. We know the ship's going to sink. So it's not really a big deal to me when they give away a lot of things inside of the trailer. Now, if they give away, like if it's a comedy and they give away all of the funny points, like there's 7 funny points and they show all of those 7 points inside of the comedy trailer, yeah, that may ruin it a little bit for me. But to me, it's like, all right, well, you probably should have had more comedic points inside of there. Like if I went to there and I didn't see the trailer for a comedy film that they showed the 7 funny parts inside of the trailer, if I didn't see that trailer and I go see that movie, I don't think I'm going to enjoy a 2-hour comedy flick that only has 7 comedic points in it. So I hope that makes sense in terms of like how a trailer doesn't really define if the movie's going to be good, unless that's all there is to that trailer and to that movie. So to me, I want to see it. Don't have Apple, but I think that the trailer looks amazing. It definitely causes me to want to see it. I want to know what it's about. I'm a huge fan of Chris Evans. I get those two confused sometimes. But I do want to see it. So let's talk about new releases. The movie we're talking about today is called Extraction. It's on Netflix. It also came out on the 24th of April. I watched it last night, and I stayed up and watched it all the way through, and it was so good. I give it an A, first of all, in terms of the rating. It's not A+. Like, to me, there's some things that could be tweaked a little bit, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it was so good, I ended up rewatching it again. So I watched it twice, back to back. I was up to like 4 o'clock in the morning watching this movie. It's really good. It's such, even if you're looking at this scene, which I really, maybe you want to close your eyes or just listen to me talk, because this scene was like one of the best scenes ever. They had like this 10-15 minute no cuts with inside of the camera shots, although I'm sure there were cuts. No cuts that you could see, and the way the camera moved, like it's behind the car, then it's in front of the car, then it's in the car, it's the backseat of the car, like the camera was all over in this one cut of this action sequence, and they're all over. It's not in one area, like they're driving around town, they're inside of some building, hotel, or apartment complex, or whatever they were in inside of India. And so I just love that camera action. Someone that is a big fan of action movies, I think that this is one of the top action movies of all time. Like when you look at like Die Hard, which is one of people's favorite kind of action flicks. I don't know why they like it. Maybe it's just because of the comedy. Maybe it's because of the action. But if it is just the action, if it's one of those favorite action movies of all time, then I think that this needs to be put in there as probably the best action movie. Because it is pure action. Like it is almost 100% pure action. From beginning to end, you're seeing like explosions, fight scenes, like all kinds of crazy things. The story was unique and different, but that kind of takes me to why I give it an A. I think that, and I get it, they have 2 hours, so it's not a lot of time to kind of harp on each character, but I feel like you don't know a lot about each character. You're not connected to each character. They kind of just set up the story pretty quick and then jump into the rest is action. So, and for me, that's not even the selling for me to really mark it down significantly, because it's an action movie. But at the same time, some people that want to go there, they do want to be invested. They do want to be connected to the characters, and so I get that. But I think that all in all, for an action movie, I think it was really good. Whoever this kid is, too, that Chris Hemsworth, see, that's why I get it confused. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, 2 movies back to back. Chris Hemsworth is protecting and extracting. I think he played a really good role. I think that his character was really good. I loved him inside of this movie, and I don't even know why. I actually like Chris Hemsworth too inside the movie. Both of them were really good, and their connection between each other was built for their characters and their character development, their relationship as characters. That was built, and so I really appreciate that, especially when it got towards the end. And whatever happens, I'm not going to spoil it, but you see this connection between them, and it was awesome in my eyes. Like I said, so the action, the cinematography was great. I actually did a review of the trailer for this when I did What's Coming Soon, and the music in it was phenomenal. I don't even think I listened to any of the music in here because I was so blown away by the action. That got me first off, and so like you can see some of the explosions and things that are happening. It was just nonstop through this, and this is one of those scenes that I was talking about where it's like a 15-minute scene of just pure action. So That's pretty much all I have to say about that. I mean, there's no Oscar-winning performances. It's an action movie, so to me, it was just an A-rated movie. I recommend that everyone check it out. Like I said, it's on Netflix now, so if you haven't seen it, go see it. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Extraction. If you haven't seen it, then I recommend that you go and check it out. It's on Netflix. It came out on the 24th. So let's wrap this up and let's talk about new releases. So the movie that I want to talk about is called The Dark Knight. It's by one of my favorite directors, Christopher Nolan. To talk about this, I don't even think I can talk about it in the 5-minute time period that I have to talk about it, because there's so many variables to this movie. It became my #1 movie, pushing Matrix to #2 when it came out. It's such a phenomenal movie. And considering that it's not your average kind of, movie that you would see technically get awards for, even though it did get awards, because it was a superhero movie, I am very happy that it did and that it got the acknowledgement and praise that it did. In all honesty, I think that praise can be because of Heath Ledger and his performance. Now, I don't want to jump into that right now. Let's talk about the music. The music was done by Hans Zimmer, who, for me, is a phenomenal composer. Literally, he is the R. Kelly of orchestra, in my opinion. I would literally make love to Hans Zimmer's albums. Like, his music is ridiculously good. And his mindset in terms of how he composes all of those different sounds to make that music, I think is phenomenal. So you see that, and it's what are the words I'm looking for? Like it gets your heart pumping. It gets you to be someone that has emotion and feeling as a connection, within a connection to the characters and what's happening. I think that's the important thing, that whenever Hans Zimmer's music is playing, you feel like you're there, you're connected emotionally. I love his music. So the music in general, from beginning to end, through Hans Zimmer's work, I think was great. The cinematography was great in direction from Christopher Nolan. And when I say cinematography, I mean the things that you see, from the angles that you see it, are just beautiful. I mean, a lot of times I hate when I do cinematography, when I talk about that, and it's hard for me to kind of explain what that is. And to me, when you think about like painting a picture, look at like a crappy picture that's painted and look at a really good picture that's painted. They're both of the same thing, maybe like a boy inside of the rain with an umbrella. So both of them are the same picture, just one doesn't really have really good paint, it's not really from a good angle, and then this other one does. And that's kind of what cinematography is that great imagery of what you see. And I think that you see that a lot. For example, like when the Joker gets out of the truck that's flipped, and he's walking in front of it. Like, that scene could have just been average, but I think that scene was really well done. When he's on the stack of money and he falls down, that's a really good cinematography kind of aspect that was filmed. I can't even point out really bad points. I mean, the worst part of Dark Knight to me, I would say, is Christian Bale's performance as Batman. He's not the best Batman. I think, in all honesty, and I know that I might get flack for it, especially from superhero fans, but I think if they would have casted the Batman that we know as Ben Affleck, who in my eyes was the best, not best Batman, sorry, because I don't want people to get upset. He was the best Batman that looked like Batman, that persona of Batman. I'm definitely a fan of Michael Keaton. That was an original, that's a classic. Val Kilmer, I don't even know who else Christian Bale was. To me, no one else was really that good as a Batman. I would say Ben Affleck was the closest persona that was portrayed for the character Batman, for Bruce Wayne, should I say. So I think if they would have casted Ben Affleck inside of The Dark Knight instead of Christian Bale, and we got Ben Affleck as Batman and Heath Ledger as the Joker, oh my God. Let me tell you, like, this would be an A+++++. Right now, I just give it an A+. It's such a great movie. Now let's talk about Heath Ledger, because his performance was ridiculous. Okay? Ridiculous. Okay, I love Batman, that's one of my favorite superheroes. I love the Joker. That's one of my favorite supervillains. And when you think about Joker, he's this like really uppity kind of character. And looking at like the Joker movie, which kind of goes hand in hand. I don't want to review the Joker movie that has Joaquin Phoenix, but I think that his portrayal was not a good portrayal of Joker. His was a little bit more crazed, and that's not the like we know him to be crazy, but he was silly crazy, and I think that Heath Ledger gave that. And he also gave a scary version. Not to say that Joaquin Phoenix didn't. I think that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker kind of was a little bit more flamboyant than the Joker that we know, which is there's nothing wrong with being flamboyant. But I think that when you're talking about a character, we know the Joker to be a certain thing, and that's not what I've known him to be. He's just kind of been that silly but really crazy, goofy kind of individual. And Heath Ledger didn't even give that. But he did give that dark, scary version. And we have seen that dark, scary version of the Joker, but not a portrayal where it's like the psychotic, mental health kind of version. But Joker, the movie Joker with Joaquin Phoenix was really good. I'm not discrediting it. It was a great portrayal of Joker. I'm not discrediting it. But it's just not the original Joker that I grew up watching and know it to be. So for that comparison alone, and even Joaquin Phoenix himself says that Heath Ledger's performance is still like the best we've ever seen. And I honestly don't think that I'll be alive to see anybody topple that performance. There's so much more that I can go in depth, but like I said, I have about a 5-minute time span in order to cover every single movie. If you have not seen Dark Knight, which I have come across people that have not, surprisingly, I think that you need to check it out, especially if you're a fan of the Marvel movies. A lot of people put down the DC movies, but I would say that out of DC movies, Dark Knight is at the top of the list of every DC movie they've ever produced as being one of the greatest DC superhero movies of all time. Nothing topples it, in my opinion. A+ performance, music, cinematography, acting, covered it all. Go check it out, Dark Knight. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, this has been another episode of Filmatic.